Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever poured your heart into people who couldn't even hold a drop of your love? Have you ever broken yourself into pieces just to keep someone else whole? And when they left, they took the best parts of you with them. If you have, then this message is for you. There comes a time in life when you must stop chasing those who have already decided to walk away. You must stop trying to be enough for people who never tried to see your worth. Because, my friends, you cannot heal in the same place that broke you. We spend so much time asking, why did they leave? What did I do wrong? But what if the truth is, nothing went wrong? What if it was life's way of redirecting you back to yourself? Stop chasing those who leave. This truth sounds simple, yet it's one of the hardest lessons we ever learn. We hold on to people who have already made the choice to walk away because somewhere deep down, we believe that love, effort, and patience can change their hearts. But the reality is that chasing after someone who no longer wants to stay is like running toward a door that's already closed. No matter how hard you knock, no one is coming back to open it. It's not rejection that breaks us. It's our resistance to accept that some stories aren't meant to continue. When someone chooses to leave your life, it doesn't mean you failed. It doesn't mean you weren't enough. It simply means their part in your journey has ended. Every relationship, friendship, and connection serves a purpose. Some come to teach us love, some to teach us patience, and others to teach us strength through pain. The problem is, we often confuse the length of a relationship with its value. Just because someone was with you for a long time doesn't mean they were meant to stay forever. Holding on to them only delays your own healing. When you keep chasing people who have already left, you send a message to yourself that you're not worthy of someone who chooses you willingly. You make their absence the center of your life and lose sight of your own worth. True strength lies in accepting what you cannot control and letting go with grace. The more you cling to someone who's gone, the more you tie yourself to the past, and the less space you leave for peace and new beginnings. Letting go doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care enough about yourself to stop begging for love that isn't being offered. It means you understand that your value doesn't decrease just because someone couldn't see it. When you stop chasing those who leave, you begin to walk in alignment with your self-worth. You begin to attract people who match your energy, who stay without being asked, who see your light without being reminded. Sometimes closure isn't something they give you. It's something you decide for yourself when you finally choose peace over pursuit. When relationships fall apart or situations end, our natural reaction is to look outward, to search for explanations, to analyze every detail, to question what went wrong. But sometimes endings aren't meant to be understood. They're meant to redirect us. Life has a way of closing certain doors, not to punish us, but to push us back toward ourselves. When someone leaves or something fails, it can feel like your world is collapsing. Yet what's really happening is a transformation. You're being guided to focus inward, to rediscover who you are without the noise, expectations, and attachments that once defined you. Redirecting your focus inward means choosing to stop waiting for others to validate your worth or to fix what's broken within you. It's a conscious decision to take responsibility for your healing, your peace, and your growth. When we spend too much time chasing answers or people, we lose connection with our inner voice, the quiet strength that has always guided us. The truth is, the peace you seek outside will never last until you make peace with yourself inside. No relationship, no success, no external approval can fill the emptiness of a neglected soul. When you turn inward, you begin to see your pain not as punishment, but as purpose. Start asking different questions, not, why did this happen to me? But what is this teaching me? You realize that every ending is a mirror, reflecting the parts of yourself you've ignored. Maybe it's time to rebuild your confidence, to nurture your dreams, or to finally listen to your intuition that you silenced for the sake of others. Focusing on yourself is not about isolation, it's about alignment. It's about coming home to your own energy, learning to sit with your emotions, and finding strength in your solitude. The redirection that life gives you after a loss is sacred. It's an invitation to stop depending on external circumstances for happiness and start cultivating it from within. It's a reminder that peace isn't found in chasing what's gone, but in appreciating what remains, you. When you choose to focus on yourself after an ending, you reclaim your power. You stop surviving for others and start living for yourself. Not because you stopped caring, but because you finally remembered that you matter too. The moment you stop seeking approval from others, you begin to live with dignity and self-worth. Most of us spend a large part of our lives trying to please people, family, friends, society, or even strangers. We shape our choices, our appearance, and even our dreams based on what others might think of us. We crave validation because it feels like proof that we are enough, that we are loved, that we belong. But the more we chase approval, the further we drift from our true selves. We become prisoners of perception, constantly adjusting our light so it doesn't shine too brightly or offend anyone. In doing so, we forget that our worth was never meant to be measured by applause. Approval is temporary, fragile, and conditional. People's opinions change with time, trends, and convenience. One moment they praise you, and the next they question you. If you build your self-worth on that foundation, it will crumble the moment the noise fades. True confidence begins when you stop needing to be seen a certain way and start embracing who you truly are, flaws and all. Living for validation keeps you small. Living for authenticity makes you free. You don't have to prove your value to anyone who can already see it. Your existence, your effort, your kindness, they are already enough. When you choose self-respect over validation, something powerful happens inside you. You stop over-explaining, you stop begging to be understood, and you stop trying to convince people to stay. You start making decisions that honor your peace rather than your popularity. You learn to walk away from situations that require you to shrink yourself just to be accepted. You begin to speak your truth even when your voice shakes, because you know your worth doesn't depend on agreement. It depends on authenticity. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It takes courage to stop performing for approval and start living for purpose. But once you make that choice, life changes. You attract people who love you for your honesty, not your image. You stop chasing validation and start radiating confidence. You realize that real dignity is quiet. It doesn't need to shout to be seen. When you stop seeking approval, don't lose connection. You gain freedom. You become whole, grounded, and unshakably secure in who you are. Letting go is one of the hardest things a human heart can do, especially when it involves people or moments that once made you feel alive. We hold on because we fear that releasing them means losing everything. Our memories, our love, our identity. But the truth is, letting go is not a loss. It is an act of freedom. It is choosing peace over pain, acceptance over attachment, and growth over grief. When we cling to what's already gone, we stop ourselves from healing. We replay conversations, imagine different endings, and carry the weight of what could have been. Yet, the longer we hold on, the heavier that weight becomes until it starts breaking us from within. Letting go does not mean you stop caring or forget what happened. It means you finally understand that not everything is meant to stay. Some people enter your life to teach lessons, awaken your strength, and then move on. Their departure isn't a punishment, it's redirection. Holding on to them is like trying to catch smoke. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. The peace you long for exists beyond that struggle, waiting for you to open your hands and trust that life knows what it's doing. Freedom comes when you stop trying to control outcomes. When you release resentment, stop chasing closure, and allow things to unfold naturally, you begin to feel light again. You realize that what's meant for you doesn't require force. It flows, it fits, it stays. The pain of letting go eventually turns into gratitude because you see how much space it created for better things to come. In that space, you rediscover yourself, your strength, and your ability to stand alone without breaking. Letting go is a journey of surrender, not defeat. It's learning to breathe again after being suffocated by memories. It's choosing to see endings not as failures, but as beginnings disguised in disguise. The moment you release what was never yours to keep, you make room for what truly belongs to you. Peace follows when you stop fighting reality and allow life to move as it must. You stop looking back with longing and start looking forward with hope, realizing that the beauty of life often begins the moment you finally let go. Healing isn't selfish, it's necessary. Somewhere along the way, many of us were taught to keep giving, to keep showing up for others, even when our own hearts were breaking. We learned to smile while silently falling apart, to prioritize everyone else's comfort over our own well-being. But you cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot heal the world when your soul is bleeding. Taking time to care for yourself isn't an act of ego. It's an act of survival. It's acknowledging that your body, your mind, and your spirit deserve the same compassion you freely give to others. Healing begins when you give yourself permission to pause. It's in those quiet moments when you stop pretending to be strong and allow yourself to simply be human. It's okay to rest. It's okay to cry. It's okay to admit that you're tired. There's power in softness, and there's strength in stillness. When you slow down long enough to face your pain instead of running from it, you start to understand what it has been trying to teach you. Pain is not the enemy, it's the messenger. It shows you where you've been wounded and where love still needs to grow. Choosing yourself after years of neglect can feel uncomfortable, even wrong. You may feel guilty for saying no, for setting boundaries, or for walking away from what drains you. But that guilt fades the moment you realize that self-care is not abandonment, it's alignment. You're not leaving others behind, you're simply returning to yourself. Healing requires space, patience, and forgiveness. It's the process of untangling yourself from the expectations, disappointments, and burdens you were never meant to carry. As you heal, you begin to see life differently. You stop chasing approval and start nurturing peace. You stop trying to fix everyone and start tending to your own garden. Slowly, your scars become symbols of survival, proof that you made it through what was meant to break you. Healing transforms pain into wisdom, fear into faith, and wounds into strength. And when you finally rise again, not as the person you once were, but as someone softer, wiser, and freer, you realize that choosing to heal was the most selfless thing you could have ever done, because a healed you is a gift to everyone around you. Growth costs comfort but brings clarity. The process of evolving is rarely peaceful or easy because it demands that you let go of everything that no longer serves your higher purpose. It asks you to step out of familiar spaces, away from people who keep you small, and into the unknown where transformation happens. Growth feels uncomfortable because it challenges your habits, your beliefs, and your identity. It forces you to confront the parts of yourself you've avoided. The fears, the insecurities, the patterns that keep you trapped in cycles of pain. The truth is, comfort zones may feel safe, but they silently kill potential. Nothing new ever grows in a place of ease. When you begin to grow, Not everyone will understand your journey. Some people will resist your change because your evolution reminds them of their stagnation. You may outgrow friendships, environments, or even versions of yourself that once felt like home. It hurts to realize that not everyone is meant to go where you're headed, but that pain is part of the process. The shedding of old layers, though uncomfortable, is necessary for the emergence of authenticity. Every ending is an opening, every loss a lesson, and every challenge a chance to rise higher. Growth demands honesty. It requires you to ask hard questions. Who am I when no one is watching? What do I truly want? What have I been tolerating out of fear? These questions break illusions and bring clarity. You begin to see that peace doesn't come from having everything perfect, but from living in alignment with your truth. You start choosing purpose over approval, healing over hiding, and courage over comfort. With each step forward, you become more grounded, more aware, and more connected to who you really are. Eventually, the pain that once felt unbearable turns into wisdom. You start recognizing that every challenge was preparing you for a greater version of yourself. Growth doesn't promise comfort, promises clarity. Clarity about what matters, who matters, and where your energy truly belongs. It teaches you to stop seeking safety and familiarity and instead find strength in faith. And though the journey may be uncomfortable, the peace that follows is worth every tear, every risk, and every moment of uncertainty. Stop reopening doors that God has already closed. Stop fighting for people who are at peace with losing you. Let them go, not with anger, but with gratitude, because they came to teach you lessons, not to stay forever. The day you stop chasing those who walk away is the day you start attracting what truly belongs to you. Growth will cost you people comfort and even your old self, but it will reward you with peace, clarity, and purpose. So, ladies and gentlemen, focus on yourself. Heal yourself, love yourself. Because when you finally do, you'll realize you never lost anyone, you just found you.